Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this butterfly blossom bracelet, and we're going to be making it completely using the hook. You're going to need a C-clip and some bands, whatever color you want to use. I'm going to start with pink, taking this single pink band and looping it once on the hook to create the cap band, taking my first color. For this bracelet I used clear for the border colors, and you can use whatever color you want. I'm going to use pink for this one, so taking a single pink band and pulling the two loops off of the hook and onto that pink band and getting the other side onto my finger. So I'm using my ring finger, so that's what yours should look like. My butterfly will be white, so taking that single white band, getting it onto the hook, and then taking the loop off of our finger and onto the hook. So we have 3 loops on the hook. Taking our next border color, mine is pink, and pulling the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single pink band and getting, once again, the other side onto our finger. So one loop is on the hook and one is on a finger. Getting our next butterfly band, getting it onto our hook and getting the loop off of our finger and onto our hook. So we have 3 loops on the hook. Taking our last border color for this side and pulling the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and let's get it onto our hook. So we always have 3 bands or 3 loops for each border, for each butterfly, and taking another color band. This is our holding band, and let's do a loose slip knot. For the time being, flip our butterfly bracelet over. I'm right-handed, so we're going to take the 2 loops on the cap band inside onto a hook, taking our first border color for this butterfly and getting the 2 loops off of the hook and onto that single band and getting the other loop onto our finger. Now taking our butterfly, there's 2 rubber band flaps. We're going to take the second one furthest away from the hook, and we're going to create a figure 8 like that. So there's the first one. The second one, we're just going to twist it, grab and twist to create the figure 8 or infinity sign, and getting the loop onto a hook like that, and then getting the loop off of our finger and onto a hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our next border color, the second band, and getting the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and once again getting it onto our finger. Now taking our first butterfly band, twisting it like we did the first one, creating the figure 8 or the infinity sign. Once again, we're just grabbing that band and twisting it towards our finger, creating the figure 8 and getting it onto a hook. Grabbing the loop off of our finger, getting it onto the hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our last border color or border band, getting the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and once again putting it onto our finger. So one side's on a hook and one's on a finger. Now taking our holding band and putting the loop onto a hook like that, undo our loose slip knot, leaving us with the loops onto our hook, and then getting the loop off of our finger and onto our hook. So our first butterfly is done, and we have 4 loops on our hook. Let's start our next color and our next butterfly set. Taking our next band, mine will be purple, and pulling the 4 loops off of the hook and onto that single band and getting it onto our finger once again. And taking our butterfly band, whatever color you're using, I'm going to use white once again, getting it onto my hook and getting the band off of my finger and onto my hook. So you have 3 loops on the hook. Taking your next border color, this is the second one, and pulling all 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band. And once again, getting it onto our finger. Our next butterfly band, so we have 2 butterfly bands per butterfly set. Getting the second butterfly band, getting it onto our hook. I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see. So getting that band onto our hook and pulling the loop off of our finger and onto the hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our last border color for this side and pulling the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band and getting it onto a hook. Taking our holding band, I'm using the next color up and tying it off with a loose slip knot, and you can continue the same pattern to make your bracelet for as long as you want. And now we're going to go in the loop where the purple meets the pink, getting all 4 loops onto our hook. So going in, grabbing all 4 loops onto our hook like that, grabbing our border band and pulling all 4 loops off of the hook and onto that single band and getting the loop onto our finger and the other side's on a hook like that. Once again, grabbing the top butterfly band, the one furthest away from the hook, twisting it into a figure 8 or infinity sign towards our finger like that, getting it onto our hook and getting the loop off of our finger and onto the hook. Taking our single band and pulling the loops off of our hook and onto that single band. And that's what yours should look like. Now taking our second butterfly band, and we're going to once again twist it towards our finger, creating that figure 8 and getting the loop onto a hook like that, and pulling the loop off of our finger and onto our hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our last border band, getting the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and once again getting the loops onto our finger, and one is on a hook. Grab our holding band, putting a hook through, getting the 2 loops onto a hook, undo our loose slip knot, and getting the other side onto our hook, leaving us with 4 loops on the hook. So our second butterfly is done, and I'm going to make 2 more butterflies just using the same pattern and once again you're going to repeat to your desired length, and I'll finish with you. It's easy. Taking our next band, once again pulling all 4 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and getting 1 loop on our finger, 1 on a hook, taking our butterfly band, getting the loop onto a hook, and getting the loop that's on our finger onto the hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our next band, pulling all 3 loops off of the hook and onto the single band, and getting it onto our finger. Taking our next butterfly band, getting it onto a hook, and getting the loop off of our finger. Our last band for this side of the border, pulling the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and taking a different color band to do a loose slip knot. I'm right-handed, so I turn it to the right. Where the pink meets the purple, we're going to put the hook through, getting all 4 loops onto our hook, and repeating the same pattern, grabbing our border color band, getting the 4 loops off of the hook and onto that single band, getting the loop onto our finger, grabbing the second loop from the top for our butterfly band, twisting it, creating the figure 8, getting it onto a hook, and pulling the loop off of our finger and onto the hook. If you're confused, just watch it first. It's pretty repetitive, and once you get it, it's pretty easy. Taking our next border color, our border band, getting the 3 loops off of the hook and onto that single band. Once again, always use our finger to hold the band so we can place and twist our second butterfly into the figure 8, our infinity sign, getting it onto our hook and pulling the loops, or pulling the loop off of our finger and onto our hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Our third butterfly is almost done. Taking our band and pulling the loops off of the hook and onto that single band, and once again getting our holding band and getting the loop onto a hook, undo our loose slip knot band, and getting the other side off of our finger and onto our hook. And that finishes our third butterfly. I'm going to do the 4th one with you, just slowly, not talking, and then we'll tie it off with the C-clip. So I just finished my last and fourth butterfly for my Butterfly Blossom bracelet, and I have 4 loops left on my hook. To finish it off, we're just going to take our single band, whatever color you want, and pulling all 4 loops off of the hook and onto that single band and getting it onto our hook. Taking our C-clip, and we're going to pull the loops off of the hook and onto that C-clip, and then you can just loop it on the other end to finish your bracelet. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.